Hey guys, happy Monday. Welcome to Monday. Welcome to Monday night's podcast. I've been looking forward to this episode since Thursday? What day is it? I don't even know what day it is. What, Monday? I've been I have no clue what day it is. It's Monday, right? It's Monday. It's podcast night. God, my brain, Shakti. I was just saying that I'm so excited. I've been excited for this since like Thursday. Hey.
What up?
I was like, I've been looking forward to this since like Thursday, and then I was like, wait, what day it is? Monday. And then like I couldn't remember, and I was like, duh, of course it's Monday. We have our podcast, of course it's Monday.
It's definitely Monday. For sure. For sure.
It's like all of a sudden I just had no clue where I was, what was happening.
That's like on a regular basis. All the time. I'm like, I'm supposed to pay tuition for my kid today. I'm like, oh my God, and buy his photos. Like all of a sudden, since he went to school, I became like a responsible adult that's like required to pay school tuition and buy school photos. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
What's happening?
And attend events. I'm like, the school there too. Like, what? We're doing a dance? Do they even know what they're doing? Like, do they know why they're there? I don't know. I didn't think they would.
That's
but
funny.
Okay. I guess.
Oh yeah, school's gotten really intense over the years.
There too. I'm
I know.
like, I thought we were just gonna like hold hands and sing songs to each other most of the day. Like, what? What? What's happening here?
You're like,
I'm not a PTA parent. Obviously.
Girl, that's okay. That's okay. It's like when I was a teacher and I was like, I'm a teacher, but I'm not a teacher.
I'm not. I'm a mom, but I'm not a mom.
Exactly.
Like, that's like,
exactly. You're like, my kid's in school, but we're good. Exactly.
Right.
All right, let me share this out to all the things.
I don't see if I can share it from my phone.
Oh,
I can't.
Can you? To all the things?
To all the things. Let me see. Where can I send this to? I can send it to my personal profile.
I'm so excited for tonight. Like I was saying, I've been excited about this since it came to me, like on Thursday or whatever. When I was like, and my life has totally changed.
I mean, we've done some pretty like big stuff in this past week. I think this program launch was really like a game changer for us, for sure.
100%.
I just shared it like that. Okay. I didn't even write anything. Share.
Well, I just wrote for my personal page. This is the first time I've ever written anything because I'm just like, come over here, guys. It's so good over here.
Yeah. Good. So part of what prompted this entire conversation to put into perspective for anybody who's like, because we haven't really addressed, I feel like, the body talk much. We've really been more of like mental concepts and emotional concepts. But Ann and I both started a nutritional program at the same time this week. We had been starting it for a few days, but today's like the official day. And it's a program that's very different than anything we've ever done. I mean, we're both super used to like exercise programs that have meal plans and really structured eating and really structured exercise. And we come from years of doing that kind of behavior. And this new program, which was aimed at healing their relationship to food and body, and healing that like obsessive kind of portioning, measuring, like everything has to be perfect, and the calorie count, all that kind of internal conversation for anybody who's ever been on a diet or who has ever been on a weight loss journey or building journey or whatever. How obsessive that can get, and rather quickly. So we started this program, which is the antithesis of all of that, which is really like blowing up everything we believed about food and blowing up everything we believed about our behaviors, and leaving us kind of like, well, is this okay? Is this okay? Like, am I doing this right? Like, I find like, or like having this conversation, like, is this correct? Is this acceptable? Is this, Meanwhile, the creator of this program is like, how does it feel? Like, this is like her primary question. Like, how do you feel? How does it feel? And we're all looking at each other like, is she crazy? Like, does she lose her mind? She's not telling us how to eat. I don't know how this is supposed to help me. So it's a very different perspective on weight loss and loving the body and tracking the body and tracking what works for the body. But it's really, for both of us, in similar ways and in different ways, it's been really life-changing. Just offered us this brand new perspective on how to see our body and our weight and our relationship to food. So we were like, we have to talk about this. When she brought it up to me, I was like, absolutely, because I was having the exact same thoughts. As soon as she was like, we really should talk about this, I was like, yes, we should. Absolutely. So I'm going to leave it to you to have you like kind of introduce like why you decided you wanted to talk about this on Thursday and how time you had in.
Okay. All right. So I want to do a little backstory because, I wasn't a Beachbody coach for a year. I took a year off. I didn't think I was coming back, to be quite honest. When I left last April, I was like, peace out. See you later. Enjoy network marketing. I'm done, And so I had no intentions of coming back. And obviously Shakti and I have remained really close friends, even after I left, because we were friends before the business. And when I went to Atlanta in February the first time, she was telling me about this mindful eating program. And it was in that moment that she was telling me what was coming out that I was like, all right, I think I'm coming back. Because mindset is what I do. Like, mindset and self-care, those two things together, I was like, that's my entire business. Why would I not come back to like have a tool to offer my clients? That'd be fucking stupid to not have a tool to help my clients, right? And to try to do it completely on my own. So I decided to come back, but I didn't think I was going to do the program, to be totally honest. I didn't think I was going to do the program. I thought I was going to have this tool to offer clients and that like I would help them see great change. But I didn't think that I really had as many things to learn, honestly. And that's just me being totally egotistical. I didn't think I had as many things to learn in my own journey and my own, relationship to my body, that and emotional eating and all of that. So I didn't think I was going to do it. And then I was like, I need to understand this program so that I can be the best coach possible, so that I can really help my clients through this, because it's really hard for anyone who coaches anyone. Like, it's really hard unless you really understand what you're coaching on, then you're kind of going in blindly. And my clients deserve better than that. So I decided that I was going to go through the process so that I really understood what it is that they are going through. And when I purchased the program and I saw that one of the requirements is to step on the scale every single morning and weigh yourself, I reached out to Shakti and I was like, I'm not going to do that part. And
I was like,
I'm sorry, what now? No, but I was like, I don't think I'm going to do that because, and all the excuses that I tell my clients are bullshit excuses. I had them too. I was like, because I have an unhealthy relationship with the scale, and I feel like that's just going to like make it so much worse. Why would I do that to myself? And B, I'm traveling and I am not buying a scale. I am not buying a scale to travel with a scale. And then I reached out to another friend and she was like, you can get a really like small travel scale for like $20. Like, no excuses. I was like, okay. So I bought a scale. I bought a travel scale. But I borrowed a scale from my host because I was like, I got to start doing this right away. I have to figure out what's going on. And I stepped on the scale And it was my second full day, but my first day of weighing myself. I stepped on the scale and I had gained 30 pounds in the past year and a half. And previously, that would have devastated me. Like, I would have probably reached out to Shakti bawling, and like, I probably would have gone out and bought all the shit possible just to start like scarfing it down, because ego would have said, there's no point. There's no point. You've been working out 6 days a week for the last, 4 years, but for the last year and a half that this weight gain came on. And how is this possible? Clearly there's something wrong with you and there's no point, so you might as well just give up. Like, that would have been my previous thought process. And as I stood there looking at the number on the scale, looking and realizing that I had gained 30 pounds in the last year and a half, my immediate emotion was love for myself, which was like mind-blowing to me. And then my first thought that I became aware of was, well, that's really good information. And I stepped off the scale and I came into the living room to do my meditation, and I had that realization of like, oh my God, I can't believe how much growth has happened in the course of the last year and a half. Because all the work that I have done on myself and all the work that I teach my clients, it just proved itself in that moment that I stepped on the scale and I didn't have a negative thought in my head. It was, then I reached out to Shakti and I was like, I can't believe what just happened. And since then, I have continued to step on the scale each day, and things have been going on. It's been up and down and all over the place, and it's only been a couple days. But every single time I've stepped on the scale, it's given me information, and I've actually gained weight since starting this program, but I don't blame the program and I don't blame myself. What I'm realizing is that my body has been screaming at me for the past year and a half to listen. Something has not been working with my body, and it's not because I'm a fat slob. It's not because I'm lazy. It's not because of all the things that ego tries to tell us is wrong with us. It's because something has not been agreeing with my body for the last year and a half, and I have avoided the scale and therefore have not listened to it. And so now, a year and a half later, I'm at this point where I'm 30 pounds heavier, and now really having to backtrack and ask myself, what's going on? Had I paid attention a year and a half ago and actually mended this relationship with the scale, I probably wouldn't be in the position that I'm in right now. But this is what happens, right? So I will keep going. So I'm going to let Shakti talk, because this is going to obviously be an ongoing conversation.
I mean, everything you're saying is pretty much the aha moment that I had. I didn't hop on the scale and see that I had gained 30 pounds, but I was like, weigh myself every day. Like, when I realized that was going to be part of this, I was like, because I too don't have a fantastic relationship to scales. I don't think there's going to be a single person in here who's like, I love the scale. Like,
we're like this.
People are probably not going to feel about it. And I sure didn't. But what really rocked me about this program was I was watching her videos and I was like, this is so simple. Like, a part of me, when you were like, egotistically, I didn't think I really had anything to learn. A part of me when I was watching the videos was like, why is this revolutionary? Like, there was a part of me that had that thought, like, this isn't new information. Why is this such a big deal? But then the more I watched her videos and the more I listened to like what she was actually saying, not just things like, how to plate your food or, how to track your water but it was like the energy of what she was saying and the way she was addressing it. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I have not been listening. Like, this might have been common sense, but it did not register at all, especially not all of the elements together. She brought in all these things that I kind of knew were important and combined them into a system that is like streamlined as fuck. It's like really, really efficient at helping you look at your patterns and your habits. Not only when it comes to weight loss, but it'll help you track sensitivities, allergies, things that are bothering the system. It's like she combined the whole elimination diet concept with like weight tracking.
Yep.
And she made something that really teaches you what is happening in your internal environment on a day-to-day basis. So for me, when I hopped on the scale consistently and I saw the ounces kind of fluctuate, and I could go back because she teaches you how to track your meals, etc. And I could go back and see like what happened that day. I was like, that makes sense. Like, it makes sense why I had this fluctuation. It made sense why I had that fluctuation. So like Anne said, what I have really learned is that the scale has become this source of information, like digital accountability, and it's instantaneous the following day. And it has no longer become about, oh, I've gained or I've lost. It's more like, oh, this is working for me, this is not working for me. That's like the dialogue that I now have in my head. And it's been really, really good at liberating me from having to like restrict. When I see that I can eat, let's say like Mother's Day, I took my mom out for donuts. I had a donut and I was like, this is an amazing donut. The whole time I was eating the donut, I was so happy with my donut. And the next day, and then I think I had like a matcha tea latte or something that same day, and I was like, man, this scale's gonna blow up tomorrow, you know? And I went up like 0.1 ounce, and I was like, that was not a big deal. Like, I obviously did not like overhaul my entire like weight, you know? But in my head, I was like, oh my God, like this is probably not gonna look good tomorrow. Like, the scale's probably gonna be. So what it's showing me is how exaggerated we can be in our minds about what's happening in our bodies, and what actually works or doesn't work without you like playing out some drama in your head. Because I feel like the scale takes out the mental drama because you know what's happening, because you see it concretely on a number, right? So you can kind of silence this. And the first time she said that, this system of tracking really helped squash emotional eating, I was like, how the fuck did it do that? Because as far as I know, the scale just makes emotional eaters crazy. But given what she's explained, what I've learned, I now realize how it does that. And it's been crazy powerful. It's been huge.
Yeah, well, and to talk about the whole mind fuck, right, of it, the first day, the first day, so after I had weighed originally, the next day after that, right, I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I feel so bloated, I feel, just like all these things, and I stepped on the scale and I had lost like about a pound, and I was like, that's not what I expected at all, and then the next morning, I was like, I'm feeling so good, I'm feeling kind of thin, and I stepped on and I had gained, and I was like, just like no matter what my mind was telling me, the scale was telling me something else. And so it's proof, right, that your mind will tell you all sorts of crazy shit. But like Shakti said, it's the digital accountability. And, there was someone who had kind of brought up the question of what's positive about the scale, or what information does the scale give you? And again, like Shakti talked about with food sensitivities, the reason that I'm where I'm at right now is because I haven't really paid attention to food sensitivities of mine. I was really strict paleo for a really long time, but then there was a part of me that was really, I got to a point where I felt angry. I felt angry that I couldn't eat gluten. I felt angry that I couldn't eat as much dairy as I wanted. I felt angry that I couldn't just go out and have, like a donut at a, typical donut store or whatever. Like, there were just normal everyday life type things that I eventually got to the point where I just got angry and I was like, fuck it, like I'm just going to go back to eating. I didn't go back to eating like regular gluten on like a regular basis, but I started experimenting more with what can I get away with and what can I get away with. And the thing that I really want to talk about when it comes to food sensitivities is that I think we have this idea that if you're sensitive to something, you'll feel it right away. And it's not the case, because, I have other friends who have done like Whole30 and stuff like that. And they're like, well, I mean, I didn't really feel any different, but you don't know what's happening. You don't know what's happening. And, for me, I have an intuitive feeling that I'm sensitive to peanut butter. And that I haven't been paying attention to the fact that I'm sensitive to peanut butter, because I really like peanut butter, so I'm just going to eat some fucking peanut butter, But even though I don't feel it in my body, it's just a little bit here and there, I think is playing a part in my weight gain. Just like eating dairy periodically, or, I don't really know. I don't really know exactly what is going to come of this at the end of 90 days. But I have a really good friend who has extreme food sensitivities, and she's like, dude, I totally weigh myself every single day. And it is only so that I can see it's information, what's working with my body and what's not working with my body. So I did not know going into this that there was going to be such a benefit for someone with food sensitivities to really get clear, because basically how I'm using the program is I'm trying to find my baseline. I don't have my baseline yet, right? But I'm trying to find my baseline as far as here are kind of like the main things I can eat in a day, like the main 3 meals that I can continuously lose, and that's going to be my baseline, right? What I can consistently eat on a daily basis where I'm losing, and then from that baseline, then I can start to add in, the peanut butter and see what happens there, or add in a little bit of dairy and see what happens. But at least I know I can always go back to my baseline of, I know that these foods are safe for me, and then experiment from there and see what happens. And then really, what wasn't working with the portion controlled containers, for me personally, was that I know that my body doesn't do well with a lot of carbs, whether it's carbs in fruit or carbs in, grains, gluten-free grains, or sweet potatoes or whatever. But I was wanting to follow the program to a T. And so I was incorporating more fruit, and I was incorporating more carbs, and I wasn't seeing the same progress that other people were seeing. And then I started to feel like something was wrong with me. And I started to resist my body, and I started to hate my body, and I started to feel like my body hated me. And, I had this moment when I was journaling and writing about this experience, and I just had that realization of, God, she's really been trying to talk to me for the last year and a half, and I just haven't been listening. And so, when we don't listen, this is not just in weight stuff, but when we have a story in our head, or we tell ourselves a story, and we don't really pay attention and listen to what is true, what's really happening, then we experience contrast, right? And we tend to experience contrast in a way that is going to get our attention the clearest. So that's why you see the money draining from your bank account. That's why you experience a shit ton of debt. That's why you experience a lot of weight gain. Because at the point that I am stepping on the scale and seeing myself gaining 30 pounds, I don't know about you, but I'm paying attention now. And so, for some people, it's having to seize, like it's whatever is going to really catch your attention is how it's going to show up. And so my body was trying to get my attention, and I just kept resisting and resisting and resisting. And it got to the point where it was, I have to pay attention.
So interesting, because I just made a post talking about, if you want more success, slow the fuck down.
Yeah.
I was like, exactly what the post said. Breathe, tap in, feel. Yeah. And I said in my post, when it comes to any success I've had in love, in money, in business, in weight loss, it all required me to slow down, not speed up, not get more frantic, not panic, not, pop more pills, not wear more wraps, not like, it just required me to slow down and like really be with myself to figure out what it is that I truly want and need. And you can't do that if your mind is just full of loudness all the time, just all of this monkey chatter feedback. And I feel like what this program is doing, it's like, it makes you slow down. By all of the tracking markers that she implements, makes you slow down. It makes you come conscious. It makes you pay attention. And she just kind of dresses it up in these different trackers, right? But the whole point of why I think this is actually very successful at helping people lose weight and changing their mindset is because you've got to slow down to track the way that she is asking you to track. And when you slow down, you give yourself that contact. You give yourself the ability to make contact with that deeper part of your being that knows everything, knows what you need, knows what you don't need, knows like what is going to help you feel your best. Yeah. And so I'm sort of in love with that understanding, and I'm wanting to help my clients get that even more. Like at the point in your life where you are just maxed out, like you're so stressed out about your body image or about your health or about a relationship or finances, slow down. The answer is never to do more or speed up or go faster. The answer is always go slower. Really stop. Stop the train. If you know you're going in the wrong direction, stop the train. Don't keep going in the same direction. Stop the train so that you have an opportunity to redirect and go in a different direction. And it's going to take a minute to stop because you've got all this momentum. If you can envision a train going, has all this momentum behind it, it's going to take you a hot second to be able to pause the momentum of a gigantic multi-ton train going down a track. But once it stops, you can actually switch tracks and go in a different way. Okay? You can't switch when you're going at 100. It doesn't work that way, right? Like you've got to slow down to switch tracks. I want you guys to have that visual in your mind. When something isn't working in your life and you're just full speed ahead and it's just not working and not working and not working, you need to slow down and figure out why that's happening. And where you're going to figure that out is in that internal contact, in that space of quiet where you're really listening, like Anne is describing about listening to what her body has been screaming at her, saying for the past year. And like she said, it will show up in the way that's going to catch your attention the most, for sure. So whatever that area of your life is right now, if you're on, I'm assuming it has to do with body and body image and health in general. Listen. And don't just listen to your thoughts, but let the thoughts pass. Sit in enough of a quiet space where you can let the thoughts kind of go by, and then listen even deeper and even deeper and even deeper. And when you think that you've gone pretty deep, keep going. Because there's more. There's always more. But it's always slow down. Always. That's the answer to life, pretty much.
Well, yeah. And as you were talking, it was, again, reminding me of my own journey at like the very beginning of this journey, because I started the program, right? And my first thought was, I just want to have success right off the bat. I mean, who doesn't, right? Like, let's be honest. I just want to have success right off the bat. And I want to prove that this program works, because I don't want to have another failed attempt at shit not working. You know, my pride was getting in the way, and so I had that, you know, that pound weight loss in the first day, and I immediately went into, okay, now let's start testing all these things. Well, as Shakti just said, like I had so much momentum going in one direction that with testing all of these things, then the next day I had gained a little bit. I don't remember now what it was, but I gained a little bit, and I was fine, you know, like it didn't discourage me. I was like, okay, that's information, and I tracked it. And then yesterday I like added in other things, and things didn't quite go as planned. And I stepped on the scale today and had like gained over a pound. And I was like, it was that I was like, stop, just stop. Start to really, like I said before, for me, it's like get that baseline, figure out what works, and just don't worry about adding in all the extra stuff. And this can go with so many areas of your life, right? Like don't worry about adding in all the extras, just find the baseline of what works. And I had a very, very similar experience when I was going through the videos. I mean, I'll be totally honest. Like one of my first thoughts was like, this is way overpriced. Like that was like one of my first thoughts was just like, I can't believe they're charging so much for this program. But then when I was really diving in deeper as far as what it really entails, and again, like Shakti talked about, you know, the really adding in the elimination diet for people who really need that, which I think is most people. Most people have some sort of sensitivity that you have no idea. Like you're just not aware. That in itself is priceless. To learn what works and doesn't work with your body is priceless. And then on top of that, to heal your relationship with the scale. And then on top of that, to heal your relationship with your body. It, on the surface level, it doesn't look that in depth, but it's only been like 4 or 5 days for me, and I'm already having like all these profound aha moments. Like that's really telling.
And it's like every video I watch, I'm like, oh, like as it progresses, I'm like, okay, like, okay. It makes so much more sense as I've gone on, and I'm nowhere near done. I'm moving really slow because I'm being very deliberate about watching the videos and taking notes and, you know, whatever to get information. But it's just astounding to me how it was put together so brilliantly as like a weight loss program, but it's like it's everything. It's like really squash the emotional component of you know, overeating, really pay attention to what's working and not working in your body, like become aware of your own sensitivities, become aware of like how dehydrated you are, become aware of like your unhealthy perspective on the scale, you know, become aware of how trapped you are by compulsion and like obsessive behavior when it comes to monitoring your food and, you know, not allowing yourself to have certain things. Like that's all addressed in this program, and it's done almost like quietly in the background where you're like not even aware that it's happening, and then as you're like going along, you're like, oh my god, I'm crazy. Like I feel like the first week of this program, I was like, I am legit neurotic. Like, I need so much help. I don't even know if this program is enough. Does she have a 2.0? Because it's going to take a minute. You know, that's why, thank God, I have a group going, right? There's like a bunch of us doing this together, because that's why I do groups, because it matters when I'm a coach. I've been doing this for 2 years. Every time something new comes out, I always look forward to the group component, the group aspect, because I need it. Yes, I'm there to facilitate because I've done this before with other programs and I know kind of how it goes and I know similar struggles and I can help facilitate change, but I'm also going through it. I need it. It's part of my journey. So I so look forward to being in the groups and like learning from everybody else who's in there as well, because it's, especially when it comes to emotional eating, that's a sensitive ass subject matter. There's so many facets to it, you know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Well, but it has been life-changing.
And when you look at emotional eating, and Shakti and I both have a history of emotional eating, and it's still an area that we're clearly working through. And for me, as an emotional eater and someone who's actively working through it, it's really easy to emotionally eat and then not have accountability to it. I mean, I think anyone who's emotionally eaten, like, how many times have you done it in hiding, or it's a secret, right? I mean, how many times have you snuck that extra spoonful of whatever? Like, we've all done it, you know. And there's no accountability to it most of the time. And at first, when I started this program, I thought, how is writing it down actually gonna, like, honestly, I was like, so who gives a shit? I eat, you know, some donuts and I write it down. Like, how is that going to change anything? But for me, it's not in the writing it down. It's in the scale. And again, it's not in the shameful experience in the scale, but it's in the accountability of the scale, because it's really easy to continue down a path that's not working for you when you never actually have to face it. It's the same thing with emotional spending, right? It's easy to keep getting more and more and more in debt if you just avoid looking at your bill, or you avoid looking at your bank account. And that was also an area for me for a really long time. And actually, I will say that this program is healing. Even though I feel like I had a more solid relationship with money, it's healing my relationship with my bank account, with my money, because I noticed how much I was hiding from stepping on the scale. I was avoiding stepping on the scale because I didn't want to see what was going to pop up, just in the way that I was avoiding looking at my bank account. Because again, your mind will play games, right? Your mind will create stories around the scale, and it'll create stories around your money and your bank account. So this morning I was like, you know what? If I have to step on the scale every morning, then I'm making it a habit to look at my bank account every single day and change my relationship with my bank account. because I no longer desire to look in my bank account and experience fear or anxiety or worry or any of that. So if I can do it with the scale and with my relationship with my body, I sure as hell can do it with my bank account. I mean, money and food, this is the other thing, like money and food are so intertwined. They're so intertwined. So when you heal one, you're going to heal the other. And I just did a live video about this the other day, that you really have like one main pattern that shows up in a bunch of areas in your life. And once you can pinpoint the pattern and heal the pattern, it shifts everything.
Amen. I think even relationship wise, I've been noticing how I'm so much more conscious in my marriage in a week of doing this program, because I've started like tracking my behavior. I started tracking my behavior in my relationship, and I was like, oh, there's a number of times where I say unnecessary bullshit because I'm triggered. That's fucking unnecessary. I should probably not say that. I've already said it twice this week, you know? Like, and because you just fly off the handle, and if you're not accountable to it, you don't remember how many times you said something stupid or how many times you snap back. I actually caught myself one of these days where I have this habit of like rushing my husband whenever we're going somewhere, we have a day off or we have something to do. And I kind of felt like we were going to be late to what we had to do, but I was just like, I'm just not going to say anything because I know I've tracked that I have this pattern of doing this thing. So I'm just going to see what it feels like to just not say anything and just let that be inside of me, let him do whatever he's got to do, and see how the day plays out. Guess what? He didn't get mad at me. A fight wasn't started. We got there in plenty of time and everything was fine. And that's when I looked at myself and you're like, you're fucking crazy and you need help. I'm so glad you have a program to help you with your weight loss and also your marriage, because you fucking need it. Like, because again, it's the pattern that shows up everywhere. You just do something, and for us emotional eaters or emotional spenders or emotional
drinkers,
bitching people, we just do things and we're not accountable. We just do the thing. We say the thing, we behave in the way, we do the thing, and we just ignore it. Like, oh, whatever, that's in the past, right? Like, we don't track our behavior, and that is super problematic. And it is like the core pattern that shows up in all these other areas of our lives. And so I'm so grateful for this program because I think it's going to be huge for my relationships in general, honestly.
That's really, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I don't have a relationship in that way, so I hadn't really thought about that. But when you're talking about tracking, I was like, oh, I remember a year and a half ago when it was like, I had to basically give myself gold stars, right? Like, oh, did I not start a fight today? Check.
Back to basics. Back to basics. Potty training all over again.
Exactly. Mouth training, right? Totally.
And with my kid too, I've started to track my behavior with my kid too. Like, how often do I dismiss him? How often do I not pay attention to him when he wants to play? How often do I say, yeah, in a bit, and then I never go back to him? How often do I not answer a question or answer a request when he's like asking me something? You know, it's really easy to just kind of go along and ignore the fact that you're doing all these behaviors, but they add up. They add up over time. And that's, Alana talks about that in the program. She's like, you don't gain weight because of one decision you make. It's all these small decisions you make over a long period of time, and then you wake up and you're 30 pounds overweight, you know, from where you started. It's the same way with relationships. You don't ruin a relationship one day. You ruin it over a series of really non-conscious behaviors and words and actions that you take. And then when you wake up one day, you don't know who your partner is, or your kid hates you, or like whatever, you know what I mean? And you're like, how did that happen? It happened because you weren't tracking and you weren't being accountable, you know? And so I feel like what this program is really helping me see that everywhere.
Yep. And it helps you it takes the responsibility. Like, you take responsibility and you take your power back. I think specifically in relationships, it's so easy to go into victim mentality and blame your partner for all the shit that you feel isn't going the way you want it to go. Like, take a look in the mirror. What are you doing or not doing?
Amen. I could talk about that forever.
I know. Because you helped me through my shit.
I did talk about that. I have so many examples of that. Of like being a victim to circumstances in my own life and the people that I've worked with, my friendships, like so many. I had to coach my mom through that just this weekend. I mean, she's going through a really hard time in her life right now, and I just had to like hold space and coach her. But one of the things we talked about was how she gives her power away all the time to specific people in the family that take it. You know, they take it upon themselves to overstep their boundaries all the time with her emotionally, and she lets them. And I was like, you're participating. You need to stop. And she was like, huh, you're right. And that was really eye-opening for her to realize that she was allowing that to happen.
Yep.
We allow and control so much. We have no idea how much control we have. We think we don't. We absolutely do. That's something I'm also taking away from this program more than ever. It's like how much control I actually have on my health and my body and what I see reflected to me.
Well, and that's really important to talk about, right? Because so often people say, well, I can't sustain this because of my family. I can't sustain this because people at work don't eat the same way. I can't sustain, or I can't do, there's always a reason, like, why you give in, or why you give in, why you don't change, why you end up eating the shit that you don't want to eat, or say you're not going to eat, or whatever, but and I actually just did a video on this too, like the difference of energy between I can't and I choose not to is really important to understand, because if you say I can't eat whatever it is, then you immediately put yourself in deprivation, and you're going to be angry. And that's where I was, right? I can't eat gluten. I can't eat dairy. I can't eat blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden I was a victim mentality of all the shit I couldn't eat, and I should be able to eat it, damn it, right? And I was in deprivation. I was angry. I felt like someone was like tying my hands together saying, you can't eat that. And I was pissed off. I was resisting it. Well, I have a rebellious nature. And when someone tells me I can't do something or can't eat something or whatever, I'm going to fucking do it. So I was basically rebelling against myself. Like, I was creating this, right? Ego was creating this, and then I was rebelling against it. Like, no one was doing this. But then the difference between that and I choose not to empowers you. You're making a choice. It's not that anyone is punishing you or, doing anything to you. You're making the choice. I choose not to. And when I originally switched to paleo years ago, I had that mindset of I choose not to. And I didn't have it as in like it's the most loving thing for my body, because I didn't have self-love at the time. But it was I choose not to because it's the healthiest thing for my body. It's the healthiest thing for my body to not eat gluten, to not eat sugar, to not eat dairy. And so I don't know what, something's happening behind me. And so, but then I slipped out of that, and I slipped back into victim mentality. I wanted to be this normal person who could go out to lunch with her friends and not have to explain my choices. Well, you never have to explain or justify. I choose not to, and that's all it is. Right? That's all it is. I'm choosing the most loving thing for myself. So now it's okay. I have to shift back into the I choose not to energy. And for me now, the mindset shift that I've had is because it's the most loving thing for myself. It's the most loving thing for myself and my body and my health. And whatever comes up as far as food sensitivities for me, and this may not be where you are right now, and that's fine. You are where you are. But for me, it's not worth a 30-pound weight gain every year and a half to be able to live a normal life. There's so many substitutes out there, and there's so many things, like I'm not deprived. There's so many delicious foods out there that I need to let go and stop resisting, what my body is trying to tell me.
Yes. And also I encourage you guys to use that I choose not to whenever you want to can't anything. Because what's going to happen is it's going to bring a lot of awareness to how you actually feel about things. For example, I don't have time to do a workout. The next time you want to say that, say, I choose not to do a workout, and see how it feels. Or I can't afford something. It's very different when you say, I'm choosing not to invest in something. Mm-hmm. It's a different energy. One is very disempowered, one is very empowered. Mm-hmm. And the choosing always gives you the responsibility, either way. So it's okay if you choose not to work out ever, but know that you're choosing that. It's not that you don't have time. It's not that you are somehow limited in your capacity to do this thing. It's that you're making a deliberate choice not to do the thing. And however that sits with you is information. If that makes you feel uncomfortable, information. If that makes you feel nothing, information. However it makes you feel is information. So switch the don't, the can't with I choose not to. Information.
Well, the thing that I said too when I was talking about this was that, just like you said, it's fine. If you choose not to work out, if you choose not to eat a certain way, if you choose not to invest, that's fine. But then stop beating yourself up over it. Stop bitching about it. Stop beating yourself up about it. It's a choice, right? You don't need to say like, oh man, I'm not working out, and then bitch about all the, what a terrible person you are because you're supposed to work out, but you're not working out or whatever. Just stop the story. Just stop it, right? I choose not to. End of story. Move on.
Amen.
And when shit gets painful enough, you'll make a different choice.
Yeah, and let other people make their choices too. So if you're going to choose not to work out, stop trash talking people who are, or judging them, or being like, why are they posting their sweaty selfies? Let them post whatever the fuck they want. They chose to. Everybody makes a choice. So if you're entitled to yours, they are entitled to theirs. And that is how this world operates. So it's okay if you choose to not do whatever, but recognize that you chose. And then other people can choose whatever they want as well. That's like basic.
Back to kindergarten.
Yeah. Gold stars and fucking basic morale is what we're talking about tonight. Real basic. It's an important reminder.
It is. It's important to go back to basics. And I feel like that's what this program does, right? It takes you back to basics that you may not have ever solidified. You're like, oh, I didn't realize that I didn't have that in me.
Like, you can literally live a normal life following these very simple nutritional practices. Enjoy multiple things, get to know your body at the same time, and just know what works. And not only are you doing this because it's healthy weight loss, but anybody can do this program not for weight loss also. I'm realizing this is just a basically good idea on how to eat. And like how to have a relationship to food. Anybody who did this program would have health benefits from following this program outside of weight loss. Like, you would automatically feel like a better human being if you did this. Like, right?
Benefits, better human being. Check. No,
better
but seriously, I was telling Shakti, we were boxing the other day and like laughing so hard because I'm like, what I had learned through watching another video was in the coach test group, they didn't have any of the videos yet, right? None of the videos at all. So in the first week, and then you have all the rules, right? And there aren't really rules, there's guidelines, and there's no cheating, which is great. It's like, there's no cheating as long as you write down what you eat. That's it. Super basic. Mm-hmm. And so in the first week, the only thing Alana told them was water first, veggies most. That's it. They had, and this is coming from, for any of you guys who have done the portion controlled containers, like Shakti's been doing them for 2 years. I've been doing it for 4 years. It was so regimented as far as like being told what to do. And I was that type of student in school too, that was like, I wanted to follow the rules. Even though I'm a rule breaker in school, I was a rule follower. And so it's like,
So I'm gonna do this perfect.
Yes. Give me a list. Tell me how to succeed, and I'll do everything on that. Like, I will follow it to a T. Not a problem.
Yep.
And so that was our mindset. But I was like laughing about the fact that, like, oh my God, we would have lost our shit if it was like, okay, just drink lots of water and eat a lot of veggies. It'd be like, but what the fuck else do I eat? Like, what? How many fruits? How many carbs? How many proteins? Like, what do I do? And coaches were still seeing results because, I mean, think about it. You drink a lot of water and you eat a lot of vegetables. That's just good for life. Like, you're just going to feel good.
Generally a good idea for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. By the way, Alana is the creator of this program. So if you're like, who's Alana? She is the one she is the RDN who created this nutritional course in companionship with Beachbody. So sort of Beachbody helped her package it and create a system for it, but this is really her brainchild, and she's really passionate about this. She has a remarkable weight loss story of her own. She was an obese child. She went to weight loss camp when she was 8. She had, lost 100 pounds using these very simple techniques, and it totally changed her life. So she's a pretty incredible human being.
Yeah.
And overall, this program is really game changing. So if you're curious about it, contact either one of us and ask. We're happy to share information. I think we both feel like new people in a huge way because of this program. A lot more freedom, a lot more ease in general.
And the thing too is, like, when it comes to stress, if you're stressed about anything, you're going to produce more cortisol and you're going to see weight gain. So if you're stressed about your food choices, that's not going to be beneficial for you. And so, to have the ease and the freedom and for me, like, I enjoy being in the kitchen and I enjoy creating, and I feel like I have that freedom back, which is huge for me. So yeah, I mean, I wanted to ask too, does anyone have any questions? We had actually a lot of new people on tonight that haven't been on before. So if you hopped on and were new, you hopped on because you saw what we were talking about and something, piqued your interest. So I'm just curious if you have any questions or just being a fly on the wall.
I also can't see your timestamp because of the way my phone is, so I have no idea what time it is.
We have 8 minutes.
Okay, I was like, we've talked a long time. I don't know what time it is.
And if not, that's fine too. No one has any questions.
Yeah.
But
we're always available to you. We also have a group that we kind of put together for people who want to take the conversation outside of these videos and work more one-on-one with us. It's a mastermind group that we have, and we meet once a week on Wednesdays. So if you're interested in learning about that, we can post about it as well.
I'm putting the link right now.
Sweet. Check that out. But if there's no questions or anything, thanks for hopping on and joining us. This is such an important topic. And I hope that you took away some ahas, that you laughed, that you got some ideas. And again, if you're curious or you want more information or you need some questions answered, just comment below on this thread right in this video, and one of us will, of course, respond and help you guys out.
And like Shakti said, we're both hosting groups for this program. So if you're interested in the program, reach out to either of us and we'll give you the information. And we have, like I said, we each have our own individual groups around this program. So we'd be more than happy to help you through it.
It's a super bomb program for sure already.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, in that case, we're going to hop off. All right. Have a good night.
On.
See you next week. Bye.